Hey fashion lovers, welcome back to my channel. Are you a lover of bubu gowns? Today we are going to be making this beautiful bubu gown with rich aunties vibes. I actually love this bubu so well because you can make it fitted at the front waist while the back remains free, or you can wear it as a completely free bubu. It has a V-neck and a slit below the knee. So I used 1.5 yards of Mikado fabric for the plain side and 1.5 yards of damask fabric for the flourish side. So let's dive into the process. So I began by placing my fabrics together, that is the plain and flourish fabrics, good sides facing each other. And the flourish fabric is on top because I want it to be on the right side. So I'm drawing my starting line, and from that line I'm going to take down the full length of the bubu gown. The next thing I'll do is to measure my shoulder divided by 2, and from the shoulder I'm going to add 4 extra inches for the pleat, and where the pleat ends I added 8 inches for the sleeve. So I'm going to take the total measurement and then I'm going to go down and measure the same. I'm going to slant the shoulder with 2 inches, and then I'll draw a straight line right up to where the neck measurement ends. And for the neck, I'm using 3.5 inches for the neck width. So I'm going to draw my shoulder to bust measurement, shoulder to waist, and shoulder to hip measurement. From my shoulder slant, I'm going to measure 12 inches for the sleeve opening. And I'll use my straight ruler to connect the points. Where my sleeve ends, I'm going to go in by 1 inch and connect it, and that's the line we are going to use for our sleeve opening. This gives the sleeve a better fit. So instead of the straight line, we are going to be using the slanted line that we went in by 1 inch. So on the hip line, I'm going to measure my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 3 inches for ease and sewing allowance. And from the sleeve opening, I'm drawing a curved line right down to the hip. I'm going to take the same measurement I have on the hip line, and I'll use that same measurement at the hemline. and I'll connect it with a straight ruler. From the shoulder line, I'm going to go down by 18 inches to mark the position of my pocket. And for the pocket opening, I'm using 7 inches. So this is where our pocket will be. And on the shoulder, we have our pleat. So this is how we are going to pleat it at the shoulder line. So for our neckline, I'm using 3.5 inches for the neck width and 7 inches for the neck depth. From where the neck ends, I'm going to be measuring 1 inch from the edge of the fabric, and I'll measure right down and link it up with a straight line. And this is where our front band will fit. So when we open the front part, we are going to have a 2 inches opening. So we are going to connect it right up to the neckline. So I'm going to measure the full length again before I cut. So I'm going ahead to cut it out. So I went ahead and cut it. Leaving 1/2 inch on the shoulder for the sewing allowance. So I've gone ahead and placed my 2 fabrics together again, this time around with a plain fabric on top. So I'm going to place the front part on it so that I can easily cut the back part. So I began cutting out my front opening before I realized that I'm supposed to cut the back part before I finish it up. So I'm going to cut the back part before I finish cutting up the front opening. So I'm going to cut out the back. and then I'll proceed to finish cutting up the front part. So I'll also trace out the back neck of 3.5 inches for the neck width and 1 inch for the neck depth. So I'll go ahead and notch my pocket opening. And I'll also notch the allowance for the pleats on the shoulder line. As you can see, I've finished up cutting the front opening, and I'm notching the pleat allowance on the shoulder line, which is 4 inches. So I'm going to remove the front part, and this is our back part. We are going to begin by joining the center back. After joining the center back, I'm going to place the front part on the back part, good sides facing each other, and I will join at the shoulders. I'm going to join the shoulder line. So I'm going to take it to the machine and do the sewing. So this is it. I've joined the center back and the shoulders. So right now I'm going to proceed by first making the pleats on the shoulders. So I will measure from the center back. I'll measure my shoulder measurement, and from that shoulder measurement I'm going to form my pleat of 4 inches. The allowance we left for the pleat is 4 inches. So I'm going to pleat it like so and use pins to hold it down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. From the center back, I'll measure my shoulder measurement, and from there I'm going to pleat the extra 4 inches I kept for the pleat. So after pleating, I'm going to take it to the machine and top stitch directly on the shoulder line to hold down the pleat, and then I'm going to iron. So I've gone ahead and stitched my pleats intact, and I've also ironed. As you can see, these pleats do not go right down. They end somewhere before the waist. So the next thing I'll do is to fold the dress into two, and I'll begin measuring from the center back right down to the ankle, so that we can have the measurement for the front band. So after measuring, we are going to proceed to cut our bands. So these bands are also two, one for the plain fabric and the other one for the flourish fabric. So from the center back right down to the ankle on one side, we are going to have the plain fabric, and on the other side we have the flourish fabric. So I'm measuring 4 inches for the band for each of the fabrics, and we are going to join the two at the center back. So after measuring my band, I discovered that it's a bit shorter than the full length of the bubu gown. So I'm going to cut another fabric to attach to it so that it attains the length I want. So the next thing I'll do is to also cut the same thing on the flourish fabric. So I'll proceed to also measure the length of the flourish fabric to see if it gives me the full length of one side of the bubu gown. So I have 2 pieces here. I'm going to join them together to form a long piece so that it can give the full length. So after having my long stripes, I'm going to join these 2 fabrics together, the plain and the flourish, and that line is going to fall at the center back so that one side of the band is plain and the other side is flourish. So this is how it looks. So I'm going to place the 2 together and I'll place my neck measurement. That is, I'll measure from the center back, that's the center of the nape, right down to where I want my neck to end in front. And I used 14 inches. It gave me 14 inches. So I'll draw a line at 14 inches. And I'll also measure from the center back right down to where I want my front slit to begin. So I wanted the slit to begin below the knee. So I used 45 inches. So we are going to be sewing between this 14 inches to 45 inches at the center. So I'm going to look for the center and draw a line at the center of this fabric. So this is where we are going to stitch on top of this line. So I'm going to take it to the machine and stitch it. So I'm done with the stitching. Now I'm going to open it up and iron it properly. So you can see as I'm ironing, the flourish fabric is on one side and the plain fabric is on one side. And you can see the neck opening already. So after ironing, you can pass it through the head to see if it is okay, and also check the front slit on your body to make sure it's okay before attaching it to the dress. So I'm done with the ironing. I'm going to also fold the sides inward by ½ inch. You can see how it's already looking neat. I've already folded and ironed. So we are going to be placing it in front of the dress, beginning from the center back. So we are going to look at how to place it. The plain side will match with the flourish side, while the flourish band goes to the plain side. So we begin pinning it down from the center back right down to the ankle before top stitching. So I'm going to stitch it all round right down to the ankle. So we have it here already stitched. This is how it looks like. You can see the design the band gives to the dress. So I'm going to flip it to the wrong side. begin by folding the sleeves on both sides. And then I'll proceed to join the sides after fitting my pockets. This is the allowance for the pockets. So I'll join my pockets and then I'll close the sides. The same thing for the other side. But before I close the sides, I'm going to fit the 2 belt stripes or the 2 ropes at the front waist that we'll use to tie inside so that the front waist is fitted while the back waist remains free. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to measure from shoulder to waist and then I mark it down. So this is the waistline. And from the center front, I'll measure. I actually used 6 inches from the center front on both sides, and that is where I placed my rope. So I'm going to place the rope and pin it. Take note, this is the inner part of the dress. I'm going to use pins to hold it down before I take it to the machine. So I'm going to take it to the machine and stitch it down, and then I join the sides of the dress. If you have not liked this video, please do not forget to click on the thumbs up button. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe and turn on your notifications. As you can see, our bubu gown is ready. You can see it looking beautiful. Look at the slit, looking neat. I've also folded the lower part and it's ready. So I'm going to iron it and I'll show you the end result. So this is our bubu gown. How does it look? Tell me in the comments section if you are going to try this out. I love the outcome. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to our next video. Bye bye.